Welcome everyone to another session of Office Hours. I am your host, Adrian. I am the CEO and founder of Groundhogg. And today I'm joined with Matt Egan, and we're going to be talking about top agency strategies for growth. We're going to hear some anecdotes from Matt, who has a wealth of experience in the realm of digital marketing agencies, having come from various different programs, which we'll talk about Matt's history and learn a little bit more about him. First off, I want you to meet Matt. Now, Matt Egan is our certified partner representative. He joined the team just over a couple months ago, or just a little less than a couple months ago, so like a month and a half. He's been with us, and he's been working with our certified partner network in helping them navigate COVID and helping them find new customers and getting them successful with our products. And he's been really, really, really great. And we're really excited to be working with him. So Matt, why don't you just take a few minutes and kind of introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your story?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Adrian. I appreciate it. No, like I've talked to many of the partners in the community, and I've really enjoyed the time getting to know you and shared a little bit about me. But I'll go a little bit more in depth and share some things about me that will just help you get a better sense for what I'm hoping to bring to the table as an impact in your business. So I worked at ADP, a payroll company, for many years, 5 years, in sales, door to door, business to business, selling payroll and tax filing solutions. So I really learned how to hunt, how to work hard, and how to grind. So I kind of got that background early on and went to Infusionsoft, and it really kind of blew my mind, this idea of going from picking up the phone book, making a bunch of calls to get 5 appointments in a week and trying to get 2 of those closed, was the game. And then and it was hard. You saw a lot of people burn out very quickly in that game. Whereas going to Infusionsoft, I kind of learned a whole new kind of a skill set and this idea of a funnel and inbound marketing. And so I did very well there in sales for quite some time, and was teaching small business owners how to implement marketing best practices, finding their ideal customer, going after and following up with the right person at the right time with the right message, and doing that with their customers as well to get referrals. And so all of this was great because I was learning these things and teaching it and helping customers succeed, come on board. That was fantastic. But at some point, I finally took the leap over to the Infusionsoft partner team and was a partner manager for many, many years. And I started out working with a lot of agencies in Australia, and growing those agencies and helping them to be successful was something that I fell in love with. I just loved working with agencies and partners who, could go out and affect hundreds of businesses. Thoroughly enjoyed working with agencies to help them to scale and to grow. And so I've moved around a little bit, been a director of channel sales, created a partner organization, built a channel sales org from the ground up, creating commissions and tiers, recruiting partners, hiring channel managers, and growing sales there. I've also done a stint in AI, business intelligence, analytics. So I've kind of, dabbled quite a bit in a lot of these different areas. And I think that I have a lot that I can bring to the table, but not as a person who's just going to bang on your head saying, hey, what sales do you have for me this month? That's never the approach that I take, although I probably should sometimes more, focus on some of those things. But when we focus on what's really driving results, and we look at, some of the things that are happening in an agency, we have a lot of come to Jesus talks, me and agencies, as we look at what's going on in your own agency, what you're not doing. And we're going to talk a little bit about that probably coming up on this call in a little bit, but that just sets the stage for kind of my background, where I'm from. I'm actually from Arizona here, have 4 kids. My wife has them downstairs locked up so they can't come and run in here and try to sabotage me, which they will try at some point. But that's me. Yeah. Love being a part of this team now and growing agencies and helping you all be successful with Groundhogg.
So you are currently in charge of partner relations for our certified partner community. You've been working directly with partners. For anyone who's kind of on our or in our community, they're an agency, but they might not be so familiar with the certified partner program, or they might not be aware of the benefits of the value of being part of that program. Would you mind just taking a few minutes and just explaining kind of what it is and how working with you and how you can help them?
Yeah, so that's one of the big things that I've been talking about lately with partners on our calls. And by the way, if you haven't yet, please do book in some time with me. I would love to kind of dive in with you and show you a little bit more of what I'm hoping to bring to the table, and that is a lot of love and care into finding out about your process. Who are your customers? Who do you serve? What niche are you in, or what industries do you focus on? And then really helping you ask some questions and identify, is that the right place to be in? Is this the best market? Because a lot of the agencies that I talk to, they have those types of questions, right?
Right.
Am I in the right spot, in the right industry? Am I charging the right amount? Am I productizing my packages? Am I charging too much or too little? Or how do I get more clients? Or should I hire a sales rep now? Or should I hire more people to implement? And if I do hire, what does that look like and when? So a lot of those things I can help answer, taking a look at your business and what you're doing and what's working well, what's not working. And what I've seen with working with thousands of agencies in my time and partnerships, I can share some of those best practices. So that's one key important value is, you're going to get hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of consulting benefit, right? That consulting benefit is what could happen in your business if you implement some of these best practices for free, essentially, right?
So what is
As a part of being a
so
partner.
your call to action was book some time with me. How do people actually do that?
Yeah, so you can actually just go to our booking link, which is calendly.com/partner with Groundhog, and you can book some time with me.
I think a lot of potential or a lot of agencies who are currently struggling, and I've spoken with dozens of agencies, and April has been a little bit of a tough month for them because there's just a lack of business confidence. There's a lack of, small businesses are struggling in a lot of places, and a lot of them are just kind of closing doors and shutting down until the COVID thing gets better. So I wanted to ask you, you've been working with agencies for a really long time. What potential opportunities exist for agencies that might be struggling right now?
Yeah, so the opportunity is there to invest and grow while others are taking their foot off the gas pedal. So this is a time where a lot of people are fearful, they're worried, they're seeing their clients punt, go elsewhere, not renew up, and they're having a hard time in some cases finding new business. And so they're having to do something they haven't needed to do in a while, which is work on the business and implement certain strategies, best practices, systems to market and find and bring in new customers. You see, the majority of agencies that I talk to, when things are going well, they're just getting a lot of word of mouth referrals, and they just have their existing book of clients that they're working, and there isn't a lot of need to go out and hunt and find more. And it's something that we want to try to avoid, because it's hard to put that sales hat on and go out and hunt and find more. But it's something that we have to do, especially for times like this where, hey, January was great, February was awesome, March was end of the quarter, and you're kind of building up your pipeline, getting customers in, working with them, and now it's April, and now what? You've closed out a lot of your business, and you need to go find, some new opportunities. Well, keep in mind that other agencies, other companies, other small businesses, they are also looking to grow, but this is the time not to step back, to pull back, to lay people off, and to hold off. It is the time to put the pedal to the metal. This is the exact time when you want to go hard in investing in yourself and in your business and in growth, because that's when you can capitalize on the opportunity that's sitting out there for someone like you who does invest in growth, to be able to capitalize on that.
So really it's just about building. So now that there's less business, right? You're spending less time on other people's stuff. It's really just about being able to focus more on your own stuff and working on your business rather than working in other people's, right?
This is a great time, and I always remember being in sales, and I would call up these companies, small businesses, agencies, talking to them about CRM and marketing automation. And they would say, oh, call me back in a couple months, call me in the summer when it slows down a little bit. And they would put off, what they know they needed, which was systems and processes and these things that they needed to invest in. But they would put it off until it's quote unquote slower. And a lot of times it wouldn't get slow. And then, they would just kind of keep doing what they were doing to their detriment. Well, now is the time that if you have that freedom and flexibility to be able to really hunker down and focus on the business, I would say that it's absolutely the time to do that, but make sure it's not aimless, right? What you'll find when you're meeting with me is we're going to get into your mission and your purpose and your core values, something that Adrian, I know you talked about in one of your recent posts about core values. That's something that I talk about quite heavily, because if you're not nailed in on what does the next 5 years look like and what are we up to overall, just in general, what are we all about, then what is the point of building out processes and systems and structure that is a cannon shot ready to be fired at the wrong target? Mm-hmm. If we're going to have to gear up this cannon and aim it and move it and get that cannonball in there, and you get the stick and you push that in there and then you fire it, you want to make sure you hit your shot. And so a lot of the kind of planning and looking at vision and where you're going and where do you want to be and why do you want to go there, we can help get to a understanding really quickly of whether or not you're on the right track for your target and then the ideal customer that you're going after, as well as the industry that you're going to be focusing on to get there.
You spoke about having a plan, right? And specifically mentioned 5-year plan. I don't think most agencies actually have a 5-month plan. So when you're talking about having a plan, what exactly makes up a proper plan that an agency should be thinking about, and even as just a regular small business or regular small business?
Yeah,
what are the things that make up that plan that provides you actual direction?
Yeah, so something quantitative, your plan or what I would call your purpose. Right? So not your mission. This is your purpose. This is kind of what you're going to do and how you're going to go about that over the next 3 to 5 years, or in this case, let's say 3 to 5 months. All right. So if you want to have a plan for the next 3 to 5 months of how you're going to tackle that, then you want to have a big, hairy, audacious goal, or a BHAG, what we talk about on our partner calls. A lot of you who do, get on those calls with me, you would know what a BHAG is. And a BHAG is something that is a little bit scary. So when you think 5 months from now, when you think a year from now, let's do a year from now. When you think a year from now, what is the number of clients that you want to have on a recurring package? What are the number of employees that you're looking to hire and add on by this time? What is you can quantify that. What is the revenue number that you're trying to hit by this time? So it needs to be big enough where it's scary and it creates a little bit of butterflies, but it needs to be real and realistic enough that it's still inspiring, because it can get uninspiring if it's way too far out there and you start getting into it and you look like you're going to miss those goals. Then it can become counterproductive. But it needs to have that balance of you're pushing yourself and it's a little bit scary thinking about how am I going to actually get to this level. And then that plan really revolves around that goal that you're looking to hit. That's something that is scary, but attainable. And then you just go through the steps of what needs to be done to be able to get there. Well, I can't do that unless I have 2 more people implementing. I can't do that unless I have another graphics person. I could outsource that over here and I could save money by doing this. Those pieces will start to come together as you really have the right goal in place. The plan creates itself.
So things that agencies can do right now, right? So if they are having a slow month, there's not a ton of business, right? What are the strategies they should be the concrete strategies they should be looking at implementing, if they haven't already, to get themselves in a good position for when business starts to pick up?
This is a topic that's near and dear to my heart, because there are levers that you can pull to create urgency. right? There's price, and that can be very superficial when everybody else is doing it and it's just kind of commoditized. So price is a lever to create urgency to act or to do something. The other one that I think is far better is time. Time-based urgency creates a lot more of a feeling of fear, of pain, of emotions in humans that cause us to do something, right? Whereas price is like, oh, okay, cool. I can save 10% of, if I jump on with this, but I don't really know if I need it. So you don't do it. But time, if I don't hit this goal or this target by this deadline, then I'm going to be in hot water with my boss, right? Or if I don't get this project done and out this, release date by this date, that's going to create this cascading series of events that's going to be terrible for me, right? That causes you to do something. So how do we implement that? So I think agencies can, instead of doing a discount, which is going to hurt them in terms of the profitability, and potentially bring in clients that took you up on that discount, now they're going to want to take you up on a whole bunch of other things that you might be willing to concede. But urgency can be created by reiterating that if you sign up now, I can get you in with a project coordinator, or I can get you in so that you can have your website done, so that you can have this project done by this time, which is, summer's coming up, or Black Friday's coming up, or this endpoint that you want to point to is coming up. You work backwards from that. So I've got this point here, it's Black Friday, and you want to make sure that you're ready for that. So we need to do this by this, by this, by this. Well, gosh, we really need to get started now if we're going to hit that time frame.
I've always been really interested in the concept of selling services based on world events. Typically, when people think of working with agencies, it's like for the full website redesign and the CRM build, and various different kind of like all-encompassing business like redesign, right? That's typically how people think about working with agencies, because that's kind of like the small business market, is they want kind of like that all-in-one solution, as most people do. I think there's a ton of value in selling or marketing yourself, your agency, as an organization, or as people who can deliver on great results for specific world events like Black Friday, like Christmas, any like sort of kind of special events, conferences that revolve in specific business niches, right?
Yep.
Like in tech, it would be like Collision, for example, and kind of getting your stuff in place to be able to do really, really well. Like I in the Fortune 500 market, right? Fortune 500 businesses literally spend millions on agencies to do like one blog post for a very specific audience, for a very specific event. I remember when I went to Collision a couple of years ago, MailChimp had hired an agency to just create this epic booth. It was like an animated booth, and it was like projectors, and it was a whole thing, and they spent hundreds of thousands of dollars just so that booth could be used once, right? And there's a total opportunity for, instead of just getting like the whole website redesign, selling the Black Friday package. Like, get yourself geared up for Black Friday. If as an agency you don't know how to gear up a business for Black Friday, we actually have a free course on Groundhogg Academy where we run through the top Black Friday strategies that we actually use ourselves in order to create lots of excitement and revenue during that period of time. One of the kind of like the biggest world event at this point in time, I think we all know what I'm talking about, and starts with C and ends with Ovid, is bad for a lot of businesses.
Also known as the Rona.
The Rona. We actually have a store called Rona in Canada. It's owned by Lowe's now. So that for us Canadians, the Rona is a hardware store. I digress. But small businesses are struggling, and they don't really know. And if they do want to invest, they don't really know where, because not a lot is working, except for like tech, for example.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and so just That's a great point. I mean, think about that as far as we talk about these endpoints that we're working back from. COVID-19 has created this scenario where businesses and individuals have been so shut down and closed off that now as things start to kind of come back online. I was reading something from JP Morgan Chase, and they're talking about how many individuals, Canadians, I'm not sure, I don't have the data on that, but Americans have a lot of money that they're sitting on in their bank accounts, kind of waiting to spend that. And small businesses, as they looked at it, same, they're kind of sitting on some of those funds. And there's probably some strategic opportunity for an agency to kind of start to lead the way in ushering businesses back into, kind of reaching out to new audiences in a new world, and with a new kind of a look and feel and a brand and a presence that needs to be there that only that agency can provide. And so just kind of thinking about where we are, but also getting that thought of where are we headed and where are my customers going to be, and then going right to that.
I think a good comparison or a good analogy is in Canada, restaurants have been shut down for basically almost a year now. And a lot of them are doing like Uber Eats or delivery or whatever. But as I drove down Bayview the other day, Bayview Avenue is kind of like our kind of bougie restaurant strip and boutique stores kind of Main Street deal. And I was driving down there, all the restaurants closed. A lot of them had their doors open and saws whirring and new chairs being delivered, or they repainted the face, and they're using this as an opportunity to prepare for when things get better, and so they can add a star to their reviews, or they can increase their prices with new food, or they can create a better atmosphere and get more foot traffic, and then have a grand re-unveiling of their renos. And they're using this opportunity as an opportunity to get stuff done that they just otherwise wouldn't have had the time to do. And where I was going with the whole COVID thing is that an agency could go to small businesses who are currently closed or currently non-operational, and then say, your competitors are using this opportunity to get ready for when they open so that they can crush, right? And they can kill it. They're getting this time to get their systems and processes ready. So there's an opportunity for an agency to sell like the post-COVID package, essentially.
Yep.
And get a business up and running, or get everything ready to go. So when doors open, and then we can finally kind of like call it, and we can all breathe a nice big sigh of relief that they're not left in the dust by their competitors who used this as an opportunity to get their systems and processes and shit together, essentially.
That's exactly where I was going with it earlier when we were talking about putting the pedal to the metal right now, investing in yourself right now, because there's about to be a huge boom. And that's what the analysts are predicting, is that there is going to be this huge growth and explosion of kind of people coming back online, and you need to position yourself now for that. And so whatever you had kind of done before that wasn't working, great time now to go in and establish what you want to be and who you want to go after, and kind of reinvent yourself. But then again, get ahead of that wave so that you can ride it and not, run over it and be left behind.
And even for those businesses, right, there's also an opportunity just to digitize businesses that are brick and mortar but still closed, right? Businesses that don't even have a website but just a phone number.
Yeah.
Right. There's a huge opportunity still there for agencies to just do some cold calling, and especially if the business owner is an older demographic, they're going to pick up the phone, and conversations like that still happen, and I still get phone calls like that. And to just offer a service where, hey, listen, your business right now, you've been basically sitting on your laurels doing a whole lot of nothing for like the last 9-10 months. Let's get you online, and let's build the list. Let's activate, or let's reach out to your audience through new platforms and new channels, so that you can create double or even triple the wealth when you do get to reopen your doors. Now you have this whole digital channel that you have access to.
Well, and that's exactly what we're talking about, is just getting ahead of the curve. And that's one of the biggest things that will create that urgency, is everybody's going to be trying to figure this out at the same time. And if you've already kind of been able to think through it and preconceive where you want yourself to be positioned, you're going to be able to capitalize on a lot of that. So, but again, remember that all still comes back to, what is your goal? Like what is it that you want in the next 3 months to a year, maybe even longer, 3 years out, let's say. And so getting really, really clear on what your goal is, what your core values are, what you're about. That's a great way to put that out there for the world to see, so that as they come in from this post-apocalyptic world of being quarantined, that they can look on your site and say, oh, these guys execute with integrity. They're about the customer and helping them to succeed. And they can kind of see these things of like, they're fun. They've got a great culture. I love what I'm seeing here with them. I'd love to work with someone like that in this type of a world. So it's even more important to get dialed in on what that looks like.
One of the things, or one of the strategies, because we're talking a lot of what we're talking about is like at a super high level, right? It's not really much in the way of actual like implementation that we've been talking about. But a lot of the agency conversation, a lot of business is just that 30,000 foot view that we're talking about. But one of the things that is an actual implementation, or an actual like thing that an agency could go do, is for a lot of those brick and mortar businesses, if you're an agency who happens to do a lot of business with brick and mortar, service businesses, people with locations, right? One of the restaurants were open for like, I want to say 2 weeks or like 3 weeks here in Ontario for a period of time, a couple months ago. And immediately everything was just booked absolutely solid. You couldn't get in anywhere unless you made a reservation like 4 months in advance.
So the demand, what you're saying is the demand is insane to get out, and
the demand is absolutely insane. But many of them were just straight up unprepared, right? Yeah. And they missed out on massive opportunities just because they didn't have a list. They didn't have a reopening strategy. It was kind of just like the government said, doors open, and then a lot of them were scrambling, right? And they were, many businesses did better than others because they just didn't have a plan. They didn't have an audience, right? They didn't, a lot of people flocked to Jack Astor's, which is like a giant pub or bar chain. And the smaller businesses suffered in comparison, or the smaller like mom and pop restaurants suffered in comparison, because they didn't have the list, or they didn't have the audience to go to say, hey, we're open now. You should come get us. These are the specials that we're running. Like, this is like our grand reopening strategy. So a package that an agency could sell as an example to a brick and mortar business who's currently non-operational would be the following. Get your ads right, start running ads like right away if they have the float money, if they have the budgets to start running ads, and start promoting like a Facebook event or an Eventbrite event, or even if you just want to host it on your WordPress site, an event for when they open, and just let people know that, hey, listen, if you sign up on the list, you can, when doors open, you can come in and you can get this great like family deal, and you can register first. You'll be first on the list to be able to book your registrations. You'll be the first to be able to come grab a beer. You'll be the first for whatever, and you can get in line now, so that when everything does open and you can't get in anywhere, you'll have an in with us. You'll be able to immediately come as soon as like doors open and have a great time and come spend money with us, right? That is an immediate opportunity that I see is to actively build the audience for when doors open, so that you're not left scrambling, trying to compete with booking reservations for the larger restaurant chains. And I think the larger chains of anything, for example.
And I think what we're talking about here even just illustrates this bigger concept that I'm trying to impress upon partners that I'm talking to, and that everybody who's on this call, I really want them to take something from this. And that is that you can have two different mindsets. a scarcity mindset, which runs rampant right now. Like there is such a scarcity mindset that it's just infectious and contagious. Or you can have an abundance mindset. And it's hard to have an abundance mindset when you're in such a place of scarcity, and it's hard not to feel that, but you can still have an abundance mindset during scarce times, and it will serve you well, because it goes to what you're talking about with the example with Jack Astor's, for instance, which I have been there when I lived in Ontario for a period of time as a young man. But those businesses who plan for growth and have a growth mindset and an abundant mindset, and as things finally start to turn their direction, guess who's ready to capitalize on that?
What's the difference between a scarcity mindset and an abundance mindset for anyone who's not familiar with that terminology?
Yeah. So the scarcity mindset is, oh, there's just not going to be enough opportunities, or no one would want to buy this anyway, or what's the point of trying?
Money.
Yeah. It's just, hey, if I even do get a client, they're probably not even going to be a good one. There's just this kind of a negativity to it of there's just only so much to go around, and how am I going to get my piece? An abundance mindset means there's so much to go around, and there's a lot of opportunity. And hey, if I didn't get that one, it's probably for the best. It's better that I didn't. I'm going to go find another one.
There's opportunity certainly for those who are willing to go look for it.
Well, yeah. And think about what it's like to deal with somebody who's in a scarcity mindset. How do they come across? Desperate, forceful, emotional. Usually they're emotionally attached to you making a decision, and that feels yucky for the other party. How does it come across from somebody with an abundance mindset? Hey, I'm thinking about whether I should work with you. Your price seems a little bit high. Well, that's our price. And if you don't like it, that's certainly okay. I understand. You can go somewhere else, but we're packed, and we will find someone else if you decide to go another place. Now, you desperately want that person to go with you, and you need that business. You're in a scarce situation, but that abundance mindset makes that person go, wow,
if he doesn't need my business, they must be good.
Yeah, they must be good. It makes them want to almost fight for you and working with you because you're good, and you believe in yourself, and you have this aura of abundance and confidence. It inspires confidence in them to want to do business with you. But again, the opposite is true with that scarcity mindset. People can sniff through that and almost feel this toxicity coming through. And I don't want businesses to get bogged down because of the scarcity that is there in some cases, because of a lack of planning or a lack of having certain things in line ready for this moment in our history when no one could have been prepared for. Well, how do we create abundant mindsets so that we can turn things around and be agreeable people to work with?
It's so true about how customers, potential leads, if I'm on the call and I'm literally like going to the mat to get your bit, sorry for the pun.
You're going to the mat. It's fine.
I'm going to the mat to get your business, and I'm like concessioning on everything. It becomes immediately obvious that if I don't get your deal, like I don't feed my family, right? And people, they don't want to work with that. It's almost like how dogs smell fear or whatever it is. They can smell that you need it, and when you need it is when they don't want it,
or when they know that they've got you and can ask for discounts and things, and they know you're going to cave.
They're going to take advantage.
Yes, that's when they take advantage of you the most, is when they can sense that you're weak and desperate and concerned. Otherwise, when you have that abundance mindset, they know they're not going to get a big discount out of you. In fact, they're going to be more okay with paying full price, because that's been set very clear from the very beginning.
One of the most effective strategies when back in my own agency days, Nancy, our current communications and operations person, would often do the sales calls. And one of the most effective strategies she deployed in order to close a lead was to tell them that she didn't want their business. He was like, you know what? I'm not sure that us working together is going to be a perfect fit. And she'd lift off a few kind of like, some what, not BS reasons, but really stretching it. I don't really think that, this is gonna work. And you know what? We have a few other people that really want this slot. Back in the day, we worked with slots. We could only work with so many companies at a time. And it's like, we might give this slot to someone else. They should get off the call. Not 15 minutes later, they're in the inbox clamoring. It's like, we really, 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 really want to work with you. Right. And we really want the opportunity. We don't care what it costs. Right. It's just like, we want your expertise. And that was kind of one of the tactics that were deployed. And
that's a classic move that you would do when you have an abundant mindset, and you all have had that, right? Where you have plenty of people coming to you and you have the liberty to be able to do that. How do you do that when you have no one on your books and you need that person? Can you still say that to them? That is my question.
If you can, then it will come. That's kind of like one of the, that's getting in a little bit in a universal law.
Yeah.
The law of attraction, law of abundance, right?
And I'm not saying you use that as a tactic in that particular scenario every time as your go-to. That's my tool. That's what I'm going to rock. No, I'm saying that there are times when you know that this is a good fit and it's somebody that you want to work with. An abundant mindset would absolutely use what's called a takeaway, where you've talked about it and you've talked it up, and now you kind of take it away and say, hey, maybe this isn't a good fit. It sounds like you're questioning whether or not you'd get value out of this. Really, we're looking for people that want to do 3 things. And I love 3 things, right? 3 things is easy to understand. 3, maybe 5, but not 1 and not 2. We're looking for people that want to do 3 things, that want to grow, that are looking for working with somebody that is going to have their back and go to bat for them. And we're looking for people who are going to, whatever. And if that's you, like, we'd love to work with you, but if it's not, then that's fine. Tie whether or not working with you is 3 things that they are absolutely going to want to do anyway, so that it feels like a takeaway, but it also gets them having to come back and sell themselves to you on why they are a fit of those 3 things that you just laid out.
It's, that's a super effective strategy. I mean, we kind of use that in Groundhogg sales as well. I'm on a much lower level because we sell software, not large, super expensive agency packages. But we often find, people come to us and they have like these very specific needs that Groundhogg really isn't a fit for. And we don't usually have or get the sale, but it's just something interesting that they come and they have like the super like complicated use case. And I'm like, you know what, Groundhogg probably just isn't a fit for you and your business. But then what they'll do is they'll try and change their business and their systems and processes and everything to make it fit. And I always just like, I'm blown away. And I'm like, really, it's like not, you don't have to do that. There are other softwares that may be a better fit for you. But it's still always super interesting to see that as soon as like, it's not a fit, they try and make it one. And they'll do whatever. And it's just a super interesting psychological thing.
Yeah, no, it's good. And what I was also thinking about is just as you craft your ideal customer, you will hopefully not have to go through as many of these social gymnastics to try to get somebody on board and have to have, all of these levers that you pull to create urgency, because hopefully you're creating a tractor beam. Tractor beam is something like when that UFO comes over and it pulls up that farmer in Iowa, right? That's a tractor beam. It pulls people to you. My apologies to any partners in Iowa who are offended by that, but just an example, all right? But your company really telling the story of who you are and why people should work with you, that creates a tractor beam. Having that abundance mindset, that creates a tractor beam that pulls people to you, so you don't have to go work so hard to beg and plead for business. You want them to, come rushing to you. And these are all things that hopefully can be created early on, so that they don't have to kind of face these walls of continually hitting the wall and needing to come up with some kind of a tool or a way to get around it. Instead, put yourself on kind of a higher ground, like Obi-Wan Kenobi versus Anakin. He had the higher ground, and you want to be on that higher ground too, so that you just set yourself apart so that you can see the playing field. Don't worry about leveling the playing field. Get to that high ground, and you can do that and not have to be constantly punching and fighting against these forces that are against you, and utilizing a lot of these techniques and these strategies that we talk about of creating urgency. Don't create urgency. Have so much of an abundance mindset and business that is coming in of the ideal customers, because you took the time now when it was slow to build your business right around the incoming flow that is going to happen, so that it just becomes very natural and very smooth in terms of that new customer acquisition, fulfillment, and turning around and doing it again and finding more.
I think that's a great place to come to the tail end of the conversation. So to recap, I think we spoke about 3 kind of actionable insights at a low level view and at a 30,000 foot view for any agencies that are listening today that are currently maybe struggling as a result of kind of like the systemic valley in business that a lot of people are experiencing just because of COVID and confidence and everything. So number 1 is don't take your foot off the brake. Now is the time to invest in your own business, invest in yourselves, invest in building systems and processes, lead gen, content, project management, people that are going to be able, when the business comes, to be able to help you, right? And be able to help you manage that influx. Because if what happens is all of a sudden you get 10 leads knocking down your door and it's just you and one other Joe, then that's like an oh crap moment, and you're left kind of sitting behind the 8 ball, as other agencies have made those investments and are now able to make or perform for those businesses, while you are kind of left trying to catch up. You don't want that, right? You want to be ready. Number 2, you have to go out and you have to find your own opportunity in abundant times, which we can have a mind of abundance, but there's not an abundance of business right now. So when we do have that kind of like that scarcity, and the general public is feeling a scarcity mindset, and you have an abundance mindset, you have to go out and you have to find your own business. And you can do that in lots of creative ways. We spoke about a couple, which I'll just quickly mention. Number 1 is you can create time-based scarcity specific packages, like for Black Friday, for Christmas, for summer, for COVID, and getting businesses digitized or getting businesses ready. And like you're building systems and processes, you can have or help other businesses build systems and processes and use that as a selling tactic to make sure that they're not falling behind their competitors who are also investing in systems and processes. You can put them ahead of the 8 ball, as it were. So that's number 2, is go out, find your business, and get creative with what you sell in order to create that business. Number 3 is just have that abundance mindset. Don't give in to pressure. Don't give in to scarcity. Just continue to perform and create great results for the clients that you do have. But also don't be what's the word I'm looking for? Desperate. Don't be desperate for business. When we have an abundance mindset, the law of attraction states that the business will come as much as we don't want to trust the universe with our lives. I do that all the time. I do that constantly. And I've been very fortunate. There's been a couple of occasions where you find a $20 bill on the ground and it's like, today's going to be a great day. Right. And that's just kind of what you got to believe in and continue to do in order to make sure that throughout however long the valley lasts, business is good. I think
carry yourself like you've got $100 million in the bank and you're good.
People respond to that. People are attracted to that, and people will do business with that.
It's going to make you ease up. It's going to make you release that tension of I have to have this one. And it's going to make you think clearer. It's going to make people want to work with you because you're just comfortable and easy to kind of get along with. Yeah. Love it.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we're almost
at the top. Don't be that restaurant that is, doesn't have enough tables and chairs, has the old menu still serving bat burgers, and we can't serve bat burgers anymore, right? Have your menu updated, have the tables and chairs out, figuratively speaking, in your agency.
Yeah, exactly. Don't be that restaurant, right? Be the restaurant that takes the time to up their game, right? So that they're prepared for when the new wave comes, or the new wave, not necessarily of COVID, but the new wave of business, and it will come. All right. I think that's a great place to end it. I just want to say thanks again, Matt, for kind of taking the time out of your day and hanging out with me and talking about the agency life and specifically what opportunities exist for agencies right now. I appreciate it, and I appreciate your wealth of experience. For anyone who wants to reach out and have a conversation with Matt at that high level and determine the direction and the next things that they're going to focus on and where they're going to invest their time and their dollars, they can reach out. And Matt, where do they reach out?
Yeah, I'll post that here in the chat, calendly.com/partner with Groundhog. That'll get you into my calendar to book in a 30-minute spot, an hour spot, whatever you think is best. And I'll take some time and dig in with you. I would love to chat with as many of you as possible.
And you can also reach out, Matt, M-A-T-T, at groundhog.io directly.
Correct.
All right. Well, I'll let you go, Matt. I want to thank you again for taking the time. And we wish you luck and with all of our certified partners, and obviously with your abundance mindset in terms of finding new certified partners and working with agencies. So thank you.